There are 8 different graphic types in Academic Task 1. Line graphs, pie charts, tables, bar graphs, stacked bar graphs, process diagrams, map diagrams, and sometimes you might even get more than one graphic. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how to write quick and high-scoring introductions for any of these graphic types. My name is Eli, and I used to be an IELTS examiner. I've evaluated thousands of students' answers, and I know what you need to do to get a high score based on the IELTS marking criteria. My IELTS courses have already helped thousands of students score Band 7, Band 8, and even Band 9 in the IELTS test. You can start all of my courses for free at EnglishProTips.com. In today's lesson, we're focusing on IELTS writing. The first thing I want to show you is a cheat sheet you can use for any graphic type. This is what you do. You put the graphic type and then a verb and then a description. For example, the table shows a comparison of. The line graph presents the differences, and then you've got a whole other bunch of combinations. Let me show you how it works. Imagine we get this graphic. This is a process diagram showing how wine is made. So we're going to write our introduction based on the rubric. It says, the diagram below shows the stages involved in producing one bottle of wine. Let's use our cheat sheet. The diagram below, let's change that. The process diagram gives the stages, the 8 steps involved in producing one bottle of wine to make a single bottle of wine. Do you see how easy it is to write introductions for Academic Task 1 using this cheat sheet? Ideally, you're only spending 1 to 3 minutes writing your introduction because there's so much more you need to write. Let's look at it in a bit more detail. For introductions, I recommend that you cover 3 things. That you use different words and paraphrases, otherwise known as synonyms. That you use different grammatical structures if possible, and that you change the description of the time period if necessary. So in this example, there's no time period, but very often there is, and I would suggest that you change that. So let's see how this introduction does in regards to this criteria. So we start with the diagram and we change that to the process diagram. So yes, we're using synonyms. The rubric has the word shows. We've changed that to gives. The rubric has the stages, we've got the 8 steps, and then we've got involved in producing, and we've just changed that to make. So yes, we're also changing the grammar here. And then we've got one, which we changed to a single, and then we've got bottle of wine. And in this case, I've just got bottle of wine. Now you'll notice in this case, I haven't used a synonym. Why? Because I couldn't really think of a good synonym for bottle of wine. If you wrote, for example, bottle of alcohol, it would be incorrect. If you wrote, for example, canister of wine, it would be incorrect. So only use a synonym if you are 100% sure that it is a perfect synonym. Especially for keywords in the question, you might just want to keep them the same. So we've used different words, we've changed the grammar structures, but we didn't change the description of the time period because there isn't one. But let me show you what it looks like. If you want to practice writing introductions for a range of different Task 1 graphics, check out my Academic Task 1 writing course. I'll show you how to write high-scoring answers for any graphic type. You can watch video lessons, read model answers, do quizzes, download PDFs, and even get AI feedback on your answers. You can start for free at EnglishProTips.com. Imagine this is the graphic. The graph below shows the favorite sport of people from the United States between 1985 and 2015. In this case, we've got a dynamic line graph, so we've got a time period. Let's look at the rubric and write our introduction. Again, we're going to use our cheat sheet. The graph below, the line graph, compares the favorite sport of people from the United States, the proportions of US citizens who chose 5 different categories of sport as their favorite between 1985 and 2015 over the 3 decades from 1985 to 2015. By the way, decade is a very useful word for Academic Task 1. It means 10 years, and often you'll see data in 10-year chunks, so decade is definitely worth learning. So how does our introduction do? We've got synonyms, we've changed the grammar, and we've changed the description of the period. Now, one thing my introduction doesn't have is I haven't written what is on the X and the Y axis of the line graph. This isn't necessary. I see a lot of people that do write that and it's fine, but it's not like this is going to help you get a higher score. If I were you, I wouldn't bother writing this and moving straight on to writing your overview and body paragraphs. The final graphic I want to show you is this. In this case, we've got two graphics. We've got a table and we've got pie charts. Let's see what the rubric says. The table shows the number of visitors to Edinburgh Zoo the year before and after two pandas were introduced. The charts show the results of surveys asking visitors how satisfied they were with their visit during the same two periods. Let's go straight to our cheat sheet. Remember, we're going to use this a lot in our preparation period so that we don't need it when it comes to our final exam. The table, well, we can't really change that. The table shows, presents the number of visitors to Edinburgh Zoo, the difference in attendance figures at Edinburgh Zoo the year before and after two pandas were introduced, in the 2 years surrounding the arrival of two pandas. And now we're going to talk about the pie chart. The charts, let's change that. The pie charts show, illustrate, the results of surveys asking visitors how satisfied they were with their visit during the same two periods. The corresponding changes in visitor satisfaction levels. Wonderful. A quick and high scoring introduction for academic task 1. Now, to help you with this, I've prepared a PDF with lots of synonyms that you can use. So you'll find a complete PDF with synonyms, with a checklist, with examples of how to write introductions, and I'm going to put that below the lesson. Now, quick summary. Write the introduction quickly, spend 1 to 3 minutes doing this, change the words and grammar and description of the time period. You don't need to write what is on the X and Y axis. If you do, that's fine, but it's potentially wasting your time. If you are unsure if a word is a synonym, don't use it. It's better to use the same words rather than to change the meaning, and practice writing introductions with a simple structure that you can replicate during the writing exam. Now guys, what I would recommend is that you practice writing introductions. Go to the lesson. There will be a link in the description, and do this. First, write your own introductions for these graphics and try to use the methods you've learned in this lesson. You'll get feedback on your answers and a corrected version to help you study. Then download the PDF and review the vocabulary and methods again tomorrow. Now, if you have time, it's a good idea to write your introductions again. Remember, you can return to this lesson again and again, and in fact, this kind of spaced repetition is the best way to learn. The more time you take to practice now, the more efficient and accurate you will be in your real exam. Best of luck with your studies, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye then.